reach on Instagram. That is the topic of today's Q&A here on YouTube Live. Welcome, guys. I am Heston from Social Varsity, and I am glad you guys are joining me here today to discuss this topic that is pretty much evergreen. It's nonstop. We are always trying to figure out how to increase our followers, grow our audience, and just widen the reach of our community so that we can continue growing on Instagram, which I don't know about you guys, is getting harder and harder by the day. It seems like every time we take 2 steps forward, we end up taking 5 steps back on Instagram. But there are ways that we can actually grow on Instagram, increase our audience and following while expanding our reach. Welcome, guys. I'm glad that you guys are here with me. As always, I am going to be joined today by my special co-host that I have on my Instagram lives every Monday at 12 p.m. And that is the one and only Megan. What's going on there?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. I'm hoping that we have one glitch less than what we had earlier today on Instagram. It seems like every time we plan to do this on YouTube, we end up having at least one glitch on Instagram. It's almost like YouTube plots that. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, or Instagram knows and they're jealous, so they're like, okay, we're gonna make you pay
Yeah,
attention to us.
I definitely do think that. I was just telling everybody what we're talking about today. It's a Q&A when we answer some questions that we got from our previous IG Live earlier today, but it's generally around the topic of learning how to grow on Instagram and increase our reach. Let's take a moment that you can introduce yourself to the audience.
Awesome. All right. Well, my name is Meg from Social Media with Meg, and I help small businesses, content creators, and different entrepreneurship journeys, people on that journey, grow their Instagram, create content that converts, and connect with their ideal people and have fun on social media.
Awesome. And for those that don't know who I am, I'm Heston from Social Varsity. Generally, I like to call myself the self-proclaimed king of IG Live, but now we're on YouTube, so I might change that title. While I'm not on live, I am building chatbots utilizing DM automation for small brands and businesses so that they can work smarter and not harder. Today, we're going to be talking about how to get new followers on Instagram and increase our reach. And I like to start these things off with a poll. I just submitted it. Hopefully, it gets there on the screen. For those that don't know, it's on the screen right now. If you are watching the replay, the question is, and please feel free to answer this in the actual comments. The question is, which best describes your growth on Instagram lately? And what I did was very wisely put 2 charts for you to decide on. One is pretty much incline, it's increasing, or it's decreasing. I want to know from you guys. Go ahead and put it in the comments. Or if you are watching live, go ahead and vote on that poll right now. Which best describes your growth on Instagram lately? I don't know about you, Megan, but mine is definitely on the decline, or at least it's stable. Like I might lose 5 and grow 6. I don't know. Could you relate to that as well?
Yep, for sure. It's been in that season for a little while now. I'd say like the longest it's been in like 3 years. And I think a lot of people are experiencing that, but hey, it comes in waves.
Yes, it definitely does. I think it was me and you talking, and you mentioned that earlier, that it definitely comes in waves. But I have to say, this is a tsunami right now. It's that type of wave that we are experiencing in regards
Yes.
to growth on Instagram. Well, for guys, we're not going to delay too long. Like I said, we got questions from our current IG live that we hosted earlier today at 12 p.m. For those that don't know, Megan and I host a weekly IG live series on I was about to say on YouTube, on Instagram, called the Social Roundtable, where we invite 2 different guests to speak about topics that you guys pretty much influence us to decide upon. Because we know that you guys are interested in everything around the world of Instagram, YouTube, social media, all of the like. And we do that every Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern. But we always end up with more questions that we can answer within that time slot. So we have a couple here. We have a few here that we're going to get into. I got them all typed up for us, Megan, including their screen names so we can give them some shout outs as well.
Love that.
So I'm going to send this one right now, and it is on the screen. This one comes from Chasing Tomorrow 8. How do you engage with bigger accounts with a ton of followers that probably gets tons of DMs daily? Really good question. It was one that was related to one of the topics we were talking about in regards to like trying to reach out to others and send DMs and comment on their post.
Yeah.
But it is a good question. In regards to account that have 100K, 500K, a million, how do you get their attention? If you had
Mhm.
to share one tip and strategy that you happen to utilize, what would that be?
Only one? Oh boy.
Well, if you have more, go right ahead. You go ahead and spill all the beans, all the secrets. Go ahead and let them know.
Number one, I would respond to their stories with thoughtful reactions, not well, not just reactions, but actually typing things out and, having conversation about what they're sharing in their stories, really connecting more, leading to more conversation. And then my second best tip would be to continuously leave really valuable comments or asking questions in the comments, diving into specifics that they have talked about, repeating it, and just having conversation so they can really talk with you instead of just like, oh, that was another comment. Great.
Yeah. Definitely, it seems like it's all about connecting. Pretty much, you have to connect with them in some way, shape, or form. They may not hear you the first time, they might not see your messages the first time, but it becomes this whole consistency aspect. We hear quite a bit. If you stay consistent, eventually you'll get in contact with someone, and next thing you know, your friends and your peers, and maybe even collaborative on certain posts and initiatives
Mhm.
that you take part in. That's some really great piece of advice, and particularly that IG story one. Have you done that yourself, like in regards to IG stories, like to sneak into the IG stories or the DMs?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Mhm.
Awesome, awesome. I definitely am one that would say I slide into DMs quite frequently in regards to getting to know people. Because to me, I think
Mm,
that's Instagram's best feature is the
right,
DMs. When you really think about, like, when you put all of the platforms together on a table, like they all have different highlights, pros and cons. I don't think any of them come close to DMs or that private messaging.
right.
Maybe Facebook because of Messenger, but it's almost pretty much the same. It's pretty much built on the same platform.
Right. Yeah. I almost feel like it's more connection because it is within that one platform on your phone, whereas, Facebook and Messenger are two separate apps on your phone.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Yeah, I noticed I don't frequent on Messenger too much, and that's part of the reason why. It's like I have to manage two different platforms in a way, although they are very closely connected.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Great
Good
response.
question.
Yes, definitely a good question. That was once again from Chasing Tomorrow. Chasing Tomorrow had shared quite a bit of questions during our IG Live earlier today, which is always a great way for you guys to get your questions answered. If you guys want to answer your questions live, I mean, right now, go ahead and post your questions. If you have any questions right now, go ahead and put them in the comments. We will try to answer them live as well. But generally, we host our weekly IG Live on Mondays at 12 p.m. Eastern. And we always feature some of your favorite creators and entrepreneurs that jump in the conversation with us. So it's a great opportunity for you to meet some of those and actually get your answers, get your questions answered. That's one of the ways to answer that question. How do you engage with bigger accounts? Come to the Social Roundtable where we have these guests, these bigger accounts, and you could have your questions answered there.
For
Um,
sure.
the next question, I'm going to get this on the screen. This one is from Onyx Occasion. They want to know 5 phrases or words to steer clear of in IG bio. Uh,
Ooh.
we want to stay away from bad words, or maybe it might just maybe it's not bad words, but maybe just certain strategies and tips that possibly people tell them to do, or maybe it's not the best advice. When you hear this question, Megan, what's some of the first things that come to mind that we should probably tell our audience to stay clear of?
I would stay clear of like, unless you are just a personal brand and you have no desire to have that like specific niche monetization, and you don't really have that strategy of really growing, I would stay clear of those fun fact lines like dog
Mhm.
lover. If like you don't actually show stuff about your dog often, like that's great, but like maybe put it in a highlight. Like that doesn't make me want to follow you in your bio. Things like that.
That's a good one. Yeah, I don't think I've ever came across an account that said, I'm also into this common interest of mine, perhaps. Like I like, let's just say Marvel movies. I'm really big into Marvel movies. I've never decided to hit the follow button because somebody else says they also like Marvel movies.
Right.
Now, if they post that in their feed, and their feed is, a mixture of that or mostly that, then maybe so. But
Yeah.
I think you kind of said, like, if they post they're a dog lover, but there's no content with dogs. What's the point?
Right, exactly. It's like, "Hey, we have some similar interests, but I have no idea if I'm gonna get value from your content."
Yeah, yeah, that's a great way to look at it. If I was going to jump in and add my answer, I would say it's two answers, but it's partially the same thing. Hashtags, do not put those in the bio. They
Yeah.
do nothing for you. Back in the day, we used to say, you gotta have a branded hashtag, and I don't see a lot of people talking about that anymore because people are so quick to hijack hashtags,
Yeah,
and they don't work like they used to anyway. So it's not like you're leading them to a page that is specifically for hashtags where all of the content is related there. That doesn't really exist on Instagram anymore. So stay clear of that. And in a similar fashion, unless you own the account, don't reference another account if you don't want to drive traffic there. Hey, like, I'll go back to my Marvel example. I love Marvel. You guys see a few. I probably got Marvel books. I got Legos behind me. I'm a fan of this. I'm not going to go and actually tag them because what's going to end up happening is the fact that when people read my bio and they might be interested in, hey, he's a fan of Lego too, they'll click on that and forget all about my page. Now,
right.
I brought Lego or whoever it is a brand new person of interest. They might even hit the follow button, and they've done forgot about me. you know.
Very true. Yes, yes, for
So
sure.
if it's a brand that you own, it's another account that you own, and you actually do want to bring traffic there, then in that aspect, it's perfectly fine. But other than that, I wouldn't share any mentions or tags of any other account in the bio.
That used to be a big thing, especially back in, like, when I was a fitness coach, of, having to put in all of your sponsorships handles in the bio.
Yeah.
And I do still see it sometimes. And so whenever I'm doing audits for that, I'm like, okay, well, you need to renegotiate what your contract is with these people. Because if you're being made to do that, that's not good because that's your audience. You should not have to share that.
That's a great point that they might be telling them to do that. I never thought about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's a good one. I hope that you guys like that one. As much as we're going to go to our third question now, just to let you guys know, we have 5 questions. We're going to our third one right now, but there could be more, and it could come from you right now. For those that are watching live, go ahead and put it in the comments. Comments are live, comments are open, and they are free. You don't have to pay for it. Go right ahead and put them in the comments, and we will try to answer those questions to the best of our ability. It could be related to Instagram, YouTube, any other social media platform. If you guys want to talk about the NBA Finals, I've been paying attention. I haven't watched any games. I got my money on the Mavericks. Maybe they'll come back. We'll see. Go ahead and post your questions in the comments as we go to our third one right now. And this one is from the Triple M Studios, who was also quite a bit in our IG Live today. They wrote, let me see, did it get to the page? There it is. Would a paid shout out also get lost in the masses, like with paid advertisements they're talking about? This stemmed from a conversation we were talking about in regards to shout outs. When I mentioned one of the best ways to actually grow on Instagram is with a shout out. For those, just to kind of give you guys a little bit of context, one of the reels that I shared today, what did I name it? How did I grow 1,000 followers in one day on Instagram, which is a true story. It actually happened. And I go into the fact that it was based on a shout out. So it wasn't even strategic. I didn't plan it. It kind of just happened. And in this same reel, please go ahead, check my Instagram. Is the link is in the description if you're interested, as well as Megan's Instagram profile. So go ahead and check her out as well. But in this reel, I shared what happened from that shout out and how it worked, and the fact that shout outs still do work. But one of the questions that came up during that was, what if we paid? Our guest, Matt from Get Slay, mentioned, what if we use paid shout outs? And I kind of said, I don't believe that those work as well because people are used to that type of content from paid shout outs and they kind of turn blind to it. If you always know that that content is being paid for, you just ignore it. It's kind of like when you're on Facebook and you know the ads on the left hand side and you just completely ignore it. You don't even know
Yeah.
what they're showing you anymore. It's kind of like that.
Yeah. Yeah. True. For
Now with
sure. I
this,
think sorry,
yeah,
go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I think that it can still be beneficial if it's the right page for the right audience. Like who is consuming, because consumer behavior is very different for
That's true.
I don't know, someone who just follows a lot of meme pages, but also likes like a lot of I I don't know. I feel like my husband's he buys off of random Instagram ads all the time, and he like always goes to those shout outs, and he definitely goes down the
Really?
tunnel, but I
Okay.
never do.
All
But he's
right.
also into, sports and lifting, and like he's not consuming content really to learn the way that I do.
Okay. Well, that's you brought up a great point in regards to audience behavior. Like we're kind of like in it. We're in it, so we understand what we're seeing, why we're seeing it, and we kind of it's become like school in a way. We're educating ourselves every time we come across these things, whereas they are targeted for the average user. And
Right.
as you describe your husband, I'm sure my wife is in the same boat in regards to that as well. Um, I would say in regards to this question from the Triple M Studios, I feel like paid adverts is kind of different in where it's located. If you use IG Stories for an example, I feel like at least for me, I get so used to when they show up that I could tell you how many times they're going to show up and when they will. Like I know
Mm,
generally it's like after three unique Instagram accounts, no matter how many stories they post, it's usually after three or five, you'll see an ad. And sometimes they even double
mm,
the ad. I'm so used to it. Just like I said, we're in it. So
yeah.
I feel like it becomes a blind eye unless it's really attention grabbing. But on the feed, which I'm not in as much, I would generally find myself looking at them more, whether it's a suggested ad, a suggested content, or a paid ad. I find myself paying more attention to it there
Mm.
than in the IG stories. Could you relate to that as well, or is it maybe vice versa?
No, it's very much spot on. Yeah, I will exit. I don't think I've ever watched an ad in stories. I recognize it and I just exit or go to the next.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have looked at ads before in my feed.
Yeah, that to me, I don't know because I don't spend a lot of time there. Um, and interestingly enough, I feel like the ads in the feeds are more, they target me better than the IG story.
Interesting. Yeah. I wonder why. Hmm.
Yeah, I will have to study that. That sounds like an experiment that's coming up.
Another one. That's what we love.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm always trying to learn, always trying to figure out Instagram. Whenever I do figure it out, it changes the next day. It's a fun game that we play. It's a
Yeah.
fun, interesting relationship. For those of you guys that have either just now tuned in or you're watching the replay, I have a poll on the screen. You may not see it if you're watching the replay, but nonetheless, I would love for you to take part in it. Join in, participate. The question is, which best describes your growth on Instagram lately? And I have two options. Pretty much I have a chart that says increasing with the chart going up, and then I have a chart that is going down. That's for decreasing. Go ahead and share it in the comments if you're watching the replay. If you are watching live on right now with us, myself and Megan, go ahead and hit the bottom. It's the poll at the bottom. We have one vote right now that says it is increasing for them, which is good. Kudos to you. You're one of the few, as far as I know, because everybody else I talk to is like, it's crickets. It's going down. They are not a fan of the last. It seemed like the last few weeks to a couple months in regards to the algorithm on Instagram.
Hmm. For sure.
All right, we'll go to our second to last question. It is now should be on the screen. What would three things to key? Okay, let me make it this. Let me read this over. What three key things would be in growing a following? I hope I said that properly.
Think
And this comes from Rick Ricky Bentley, I believe. I apologize if I said your name wrong. So they want to know three things that we believe are key to growing a following on Instagram. Do you happen to have three things in mind right now, Megan?
wow. How do you choose three? If think number one would be to get very specific in the topic that you're talking about, topics. So niching down and creating that type of content consistently. I know that's like an overdone thing, but right now, I mean, especially you want to be seen, you want to really stand out, make sure that you're speaking to that one person. So, what are they interested in? Number two, I would say to make sure you're engaging with other leaders in that similar niche and building those relationships consistently, and finding the ones that you really like and the ones you really want to build relationships. So, going deep with them instead of wide. And then number three, let's see, I would continue to test out different formats, different types of content, and learn which ones you like and which ones perform well.
You
Right.
did very well for being on the top right there. You did very well. You put out three. And I took note quickly. Megan said to niche down, be engaging, and to experiment with different content formats. I took notes because I wanted to make sure I didn't copy you. And I
I
share
know, right?
my three. I'm trying to come up with three off the top as well. I would say consistency would definitely play a role in regards to growing a following, because if you're trying to grow and you're being inconsistent, it just doesn't work out. You need to keep up with it. And I'm not saying to post daily. I'm just saying find your flow so that you can figure out how often you can post and continue to grow. It could be three a week, it could be seven a week, it could be somewhere in the middle. Your audience will kind of tell you how much they want from you. And if you are capable of doing that, then hey, by all means, try to provide that and move forward. And I think you will find a good rhythm to content creation and working and building engagement.
Yeah, I agree.
Um, the second one that I have, I would say, be up in the analytics. You got to pay attention to the numbers, because the numbers are going to show and prove to you what is working, and probably most importantly, what isn't. I think that is something that's very important that a lot of people are skipping out on, and that's the fact that our numbers that Instagram has given us, for most of us, if you're using a creator account or a business account, you're capable of accessing the professional dashboard. And in the dashboard, they're able to see all of the analytics. Some of them go as far back as a year. So utilize that information, that data, and try to actually, structure a content strategy that will best help you moving forward in regards to growing. And I just kind of have to double down on this one. I know you said it first, Megan, but I have to double down on the engagement one, because a lot of people, what they do is they post and ghost. They share their content and then they leave, and they get upset when they say, "Hey, how come nobody is following me? Nobody's hitting the follow button." And it's like, well, maybe you should engage. When it comes to social media, people believe in that whole, if you build it, or in this case, if you post it, they will come. It doesn't work like that. It
Right.
does not work like that. You have to earn it. So if you want engagement, you have to give engagement. So make sure you are out there, you're liking, you're commenting, you're sharing, you're saving, all for genuinely. We don't want to just do it like we're a robot and just, like. Do it
Right.
genuinely. Be conservative with your engagement. I think that's a good way to kind of put it, so that you make sure you are only engaging with those that you want to. What's up,
Yeah.
Greg? I see Greg is in the comments.
Yeah.
He said he
Hello.
missed
Hello.
the live earlier. You know how we do, Greg. You may have missed it, but we're going to repost it on this YouTube channel. Thanks for joining us on the live. If you got a question, please go ahead and jump in. He said, my analytics are funnily enough increasing in non-followers. That's interesting that you brought that up, Greg. I'm noticing the same thing. As much as overall, my my growth has slowed down, I am noticing the same thing. More non followers are seeing my content, even IG stories. I think we spoke about this before, Megan.
Yeah.
Even my IG stories are being seen by more non followers. And that even includes the whole add yours trick that came out a few days ago. I don't know if it's still working. I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, I actually did do it today, and I do see an increase, but it's still not as crazy as it was last week. Um,
Okay.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people are experiencing that too, having non-followers, and that is gonna then make us all have to learn how to create content differently to really connect with brand new people too. So there's always something exciting about that, and then, there's gonna be a challenge too, but that's all of social media and marketing in general is finding how to connect with people, and it changes over time.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great way. We have to adapt. These strategies, they can't be set in stone. They have to be kind of like sand in a way. Just be flexible and make sure you're able to move and adapt to the way that things are turning, because sometimes it's not even just one platform. What goes on one platform might affect another. We're
Mhm.
definitely going to see that when whatever happens to TikTok, when
Yep.
TikTok's ultimate fate comes to an end or it continues, that's going to be reflective on all of these other platforms, YouTube, Instagram. So we have to be adaptive and be prepared as best as we can when these things do occur.
Yeah.
So yeah, Greg actually posted a question. He said, "How do I CTA to them so they hit that? How do I use a call to action so that they hit the follow button?" I love this question, Greg. Thank you very much. And I think he's referring to his other comment right above, that his growth has increased 40% in non-followers. Um, Now, I guess this truly depends on where that growth has occurred, because you could say you're growing more maybe in IG stories. Like, I've seen more non followers in IG stories. Maybe it's your posts, maybe it's IG lives. Um, I'm going to throw it to you, Megan, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you decide which surface of Instagram that you want to speak on, and I will speak on another. So, is it like IG stories, posts? What would you like to speak on and provide some insight?
Um, well, because I wouldn't necessarily do a call to action in stories, I guess, for follows. I did actually just make a reel about this, I think last week, different ways to encourage people to hit follow if they just found you, and to not just say, hey, follow for more, but rather to show them, why they should follow you, say the benefit to them first. So if you like learning X, Y, and Z, if you also want more A, B, and C, if you like whatever, if you are looking to blank, hit whatever goal, then follow for more. So it's, connecting with them and putting them first, and then saying, if that's what you want, I can help you with that. Come to my page, but definitely leading with their benefit first.
Great advice, and you chose wisely, because Greg responded and said it reels,
Thank
and
you.
which is what you stated is exactly can be applied to reels, and some even and whether it's a carousel or a single image, which you stated can be applied to any one of those type of formats.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I'm gonna go the dangerous route. I'm gonna go on what you said that you don't usually do, which is
Hmm.
IG stories, and the reason why I'm gonna go that route is because we're starting to see a shift. I don't know if this shift is going to last for long. I doubt it. But I have been seeing more non-followers on my IG stories than ever before. Greg, I would love to know, as you're in the live, do you see that as well? Do you see more non-followers in your IG stories? Go ahead and put that in the comments. I really would love to know, as well as anybody else. Do you recognize that as well? Put it in the comments if you're watching the replay. So I'm going to use a trick that I use generally on my feed posts, and I'm going to apply it to my IG stories. I will use DM automation to trigger an automated response. Now, the way that I would do this, what I use on my posts, on my regular feed posts, is I would actually create a post that uses a CTA, and the CTA is very simple. I use my most popular one I always go back to is, which one do you prefer, Apple or Android? Megan is probably tired of me using this example. I use it all the time.
It works.
Generally, yeah, it works because immediately those two, some of the biggest brands in regards to phones, people are really, they immediately have a response. I guarantee you, everybody who just heard me say that question immediately has an answer, and they want to share it. So generally, I would share that type of CTA into a post feed. And my DM automation, when it is activated when a non-follower responds in the comments, I would take that same strategy and apply it to my IG stories. So I'll use a simple CTA in IG stories, but I won't use a poll sticker. I won't use a question. I'll tell them to comment their answer. and then I'll set the DM automation for whatever the answers may be. In this example, Apple or Android. So when they respond, the automation will know, hey, this person is not a follower. Go ahead and send them another follow up message that says, hey, if you like this type of IG story and content, maybe you should follow for more. Something as simple as that. Now, mind you, that is using automation. You guys know that's what I specialize in. So my mind always goes there first. But I think it's a different type of strategy for IG story, which we're not used to because now we're starting to see more non followers look at our IG stories. Let me
Yeah,
see if you responded.
for sure. With that, you just had me think of another idea of how you could use automation is kind of like teasing a reel that you're going to be posting later that week and then having them
Yeah.
respond and say, hey, if you want to know the answer or you want to learn, follow because I'll be posting it on blank day. Could work that
That's
way.
a great way. Teasers definitely work very well. Greg actually responded to my question. He said Maria Wentz posted recently. I have to apologize. I'm not familiar with who that is. But they posted that stories were getting more visibility. He also said he's seen it too, but not as much as reels, which is quite understandable. But nonetheless, things are changing in the world of Instagram, and that just so happens to be one of them. So we got to pay attention. Once again, like I said, look at your analytics. That's when you will realize where some of these things are occurring. Our
Mhm.
last question now. Let me see if I still have it here. Yes. Our last question. This one is from Eliza V Pro, and they want to know how can I create engaging content with my viewers by not showing my face, doing faceless content slash running a faceless account. Um, Faceless, what's happening, Megan? Faceless, this trend has just like hit all over Instagram. And now when I go through my content, I mean, through my following list or just anywhere, all I see is this faceless that or faceless this. And this is crazy. Like, when did this happen?
I know it is crazy. I almost feel like it's just another way that people are rebranding like theme style pages. You know, like that motivational style page that I would follow naturally. Now, if I saw it was like faceless, blah blah blah, I may not follow because I'm like, not as interested. It's more about how yes, faceless works, but I don't care that you're faceless. Like I care.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's obviously still working well. I think it really paints that dream for people of like I don't have to show up on camera, like which totally it can be done. It's totally can be done. But I know that didn't answer the question, but this
Well, no, I just wanted to know like where this whole trend thing come from. But to
yeah,
answer
crazy.
Eliza V's pro question, and I will go first in regards to this one because I know I've been kind of throwing it at you first for most of the questions. So once again, to restate the question, they want to know how can I create engaging content with my viewers by not showing my face. Well, for one thing, I'm definitely going to tell you this: you would get more engagement if you show your face than if you don't. People, it's studies have proven that people connect more when there's a face shown. Okay,
Hmm.
so I just want to make sure I state that. Now, what I'm going to say is if you do not want to show your face, well, it doesn't have to be your face, but maybe you can create an avatar using AI to kind of
Hmm.
represent your brand, almost like a mascot. That's very
Yeah.
close to a mascot, but for Instagram, something that the audience can connect to. You know, like if you think of some of these biggest brands, McDonald's has what's his name, Ronald McDonald.
Yeah.
Disney has Mickey Mouse. Like they have these type of representation mascots. You could utilize something like that and have a lot of fun with it. Obviously, depending on your niche. I wouldn't do this if it was like a really serious niche that probably wouldn't be too playful. But if you're capable of doing that, create some type of representation, some type of branding, a character, if you will,
Yeah.
using AI. These tools are very easy to create now. They're pretty actually cost efficient as well. You could create a mascot probably in just a few words in a prompt and have something ready for you in moments that you could utilize in different ways on your account.
Mhm.
That's one way that comes to mind for me. How about you, Megan?
I also would that's a really good one. Definitely having someone or something. repetitive, like Avatar. Love that. But I also would try to think of what you can name your community. So maybe your community is like a group of something. You're creating like a movement that people want to be a part of. So then they start to associate themselves with, I am a blank, whatever this community is. I don't know, flower lover. Maybe you're like a gardener page. You never show your face, but you're like, I'm a, I don't, whatever you call your community, they now identify as it and they want to be
Yeah.
part of that. So also coming at it as what is your group, what is your core, what is your community, and allowing them to take part of that, they kind of help shape your page.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Really great one there. I noticed we got a few more votes on the poll. The poll still is active. For those that are watching the replay, you can put it in the comments. If you're watching live, go ahead and answer on the poll. The question is, which best describes your growth on Instagram lately? Is it increasing or decreasing? Go ahead and post it in the poll or in the comments. I love that idea of naming your community. When you think of like some of the most famous ones, not on social media, but more, well, I guess it is social media. I was thinking like Beyonce's Beehive, Taylor Swift Swifties. Who are the monsters? The Lady Gaga, right? The monsters, Lady Gaga.
No, I don't really.
Like there's so many of them.
Yeah.
I actually had a friend of mine refer to my account as uh, Team Varsity, and I just liked that, and I ran with it. That's
Yes.
the name of my broadcast channel. But I think that's a really good one. It's a really fun and engaging one that people could kind of find themselves as a part of, and be representative of, because it kind of represents them as well, depending on what it's around.
Totally.
That's a really good one. We're all done with questions from our IG Live, but Greg did post one in the comments, and I want to get to it because I felt like I've seen this. We had a bit of an IG Live issue with questions, so earlier today, some may have got lost. It is, I feel like I've seen it, but when I was collecting them, I didn't have it. So I apologize about that, Greg, but we're going to answer it right now. On the screen, Greg asks, I recently got a 1500. I'm assuming, is that the pound sign? Excuse my ignorance. I believe that's pounds, 1500
Yeah.
pounds. Correct me if I'm wrong, Greg, if you're still here. I recently got a 1500 pound offer to get my social media done for me. Euro is euro. Um, what are your opinions about this price? Now, I'm going to be quite honest,
Yeah.
Greg.
Just
I don't know what they're offering, because when you say get the social media done, it could be as simple as they say, well, I'm going to post one a day for you, or I'm going to post every day for you,
right.
or I'm going to do everything, video, content creation from scratch, and all. It really depends on the offer of what they are going to do for you. And, there's lots that entails into it. So I can't say that's high. I can't say that's low. It really
Hmm.
depends on a lot. I would say try to figure out competitive prices. Go out there, figure out what other people are offering. Even if you have to do a free discovery call, I would say try to practice some of those strategies to talk to others, and then get a really good idea that way to see if what this person is pitching you is good. Because if anything, you might end up finding out another one that's actually better from your research. So I can't give you a definitive answer to this one, unfortunately. But I would say do your research. Don't jump into it though. Don't jump into this offer that this person has made. It can sound really good right now, but it might be something when you do your research, um, it might end up kind of bad.
Hmm.
Megan, how would you respond to that?
I definitely would take a look at what's included and then weigh out, what does that take off of your plate? Because if it's someone who says they're going to actually just post the content for you and engage for you, that's taking a little bit off your plate, but you still have to create it. You still have to come up with the ideas. You still have, like, if that, you got to think, was it actually saving you time so you can spend that time on more money making activities? Or is it just adding to your plate of, oh, now I have to, have a middleman and communicate. So that is important. But I think what you said, Hassan, of doing your research to figure out what really that competitive price is, plus what's involved and what it's worth for you. That's not an expensive price from what I know a lot of people charge, there's a huge range
Mhm.
in the social media world. You know, you can hire a social media manager for $300 a month. You can hire one for $3,000 a month.
Yeah.
So it really varies with experience, what's included, etc. And I did see, Greg, you asked what we charge. I actually don't do social media management, so I do for a very small select in person, like people, local businesses. I don't actually have that as part of my packages though for online business.
Yeah. Me neither. I stopped a couple years ago. I will admit I'm probably gonna do one, but it's more due to like family connection, friend of the family type of connection thing. But I don't generally offer that. Um, he brought up something I do want to also mention really quickly. He said he hopes to boost these YouTube lives. I did forget to tell people. I even forgot to tell you, Megan. I'm only doing. No, I think I did tell you. I'm only doing the lives on Monday from now on. I was planning to do one every day except for Fridays and Sundays for the rest of this month, but life happens. Things got busy, and I thought it would be best if I optimized my time towards doing that, the other work that came up rather than the lives at the moment. But I am still doing lives this Monday, well, right now, and then next Monday will be my last one for June. But I'll be joined by Megan to answer some of your guys' questions from that week's IG Live, which will be the 24th of June. Man, this month is flying by.
I know it is. Yeah, this whole year.
Oh wow. Yeah. Oh man, this is insane. But yes, I am enjoying IG Live. YouTube Live. I don't know what might happen in the future, but I would say stay tuned to our respective broadcast channels. We're pretty much at the end of our conversation here today, Megan. We answered all the questions from the live. We answered some of the questions from the audience. I want to say thank you to those that submitted questions, took part in the poll. We definitely appreciate that. This is our little after party of the Social Roundtable where we answer your questions from the Q&A, and I'm joined by my incredible co-host Megan. You can find her links, both of them from Instagram and YouTube, in the description. But I'll let Megan take it away, and she can share what she's up to and where you can find her.
Awesome. Well, yeah, thank you so much, everybody who is here in the audience, plus Heston for being here and hosting this Q&A. And Greg, thank you for your support as well. Love the conversation we're having here. So you guys can find me on Instagram. You guys can find me here on YouTube. YouTube's coming back officially. We have 3 videos ready for the end of this month
Nice.
going into July. So yeah, stay tuned.
Nice. You've been busy. You've been busy.
I have.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing that. For those that are watching, like I said, her YouTube and Instagram link is in the description. Make sure you go ahead and show some love on both of them, not just one, both of them. So go ahead and check that out. I will be we'll be doing another IG live next week, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We do it every Monday, and we will have 2 new guests. Well, actually, next week, if I remember correctly, we're talking about YouTube
I
on
was gonna
Instagram. So
say.
it's going to be an interesting conversation. You guys will find out who our guest is from our broadcast channel on Instagram. Go ahead and check that out as well. Looking forward to having you guys join us once more. I am Heston from Social Varsity, your self-proclaimed king of IG and YouTube lives. Yes, I'm now stating that. Okay, I'm going to
I
make it.
love
I'm going to
that.
speak it into existence.
As you should.
Anyways, thank you guys for joining us. Have a great one, and talk to you later. You
Thank
too as well,
you.
Megan.